Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to New Jersey Revolution Radio live with Diane Moxley. This week, we are going to speak with Seth Copperdale from the Reformed Church of Highland Park about his work resisting ICE, his organization Dyer, as well as One People's Project exposing New Jersey Nazi boneheads. The Justice for Jameek rally is going to happen July 23rd in Paterson, New Jersey, and of course, updates from Extinction Rebellion. If you would like to contribute to New Jersey Revolution Radio, please visit www.njrevolutionradio.com/donate.
Hi, everyone. It's New Jersey Revolution Radio. Diane here on our Wednesday evening live stream. Brian Powers is en route, and he'll be here towards the end of our interview. I'm so glad this evening that we have with us Seth Copperdale. Seth Copperdale was the 2017 Green Party candidate for governor, and he's also the longtime pastor at the Reformed Church of Highland Park, as well as he wears many hats, but what we're going to be talking about this evening is the work he has been doing with an immigrants' rights group that I believe he has started, that is called Dyer, which stands for Deportation and Immigrants Response Equipo?
Deportation and Immigration Response Equipo, yeah.
Okay. So, I know You've been doing this work for a long time. You've been an immigrant rights advocate since, is it 2002?
Yes.
Okay. And I know since we have had these, sort of ramping up of sweeps of undocumented residents, which has been stepped up during the Trump administration, you've had a lot going on, even directly related to your church and the community right in the area of the church. Is that correct?
That's true, yes.
Okay, so what is it that Dyer does?
So, Diane, first, thanks for having me on tonight, and I appreciate any opportunity to share with people who care about how it is that we're trying to protect immigrants in New Jersey right now. In January of 2017, we started Dyer right after Donald Trump came up with the executive order called the Security of the Interior. We knew that security of the interior actually meant insecurity of the interior, and it was the putting in place the codifying of his horrible rhetoric during the campaign. Rhetoric that basically called for racial and ethnic cleansing carried out under the guise of immigration policy. And that's what we've been experiencing since Trump became president. I want to be clear, Obama was the deporter-in-chief. And so anytime I'm going hard against Trump and his rhetoric is filthy and wrong and injuring us as a people, but he's not the first horrible president on immigration issues. I mean, Obama was no saint on these things. So that's clear. But the main purpose for Dyer is it's so that immigrants themselves have a number that they can call when they're in trouble. So if ICE shows up at the restaurant where you work, if ICE shows up at the factory where you drive a high-low, if ICE shows up at your door, you can call 1-888-DYER-SOS. And people call that number all day long. We get calls from people whose loved ones have just been picked up. We get calls from people whose loved ones were picked up and detained a month ago, and they finally hear about our number. And by the time they call us, they can't pay next month's rent because the breadwinner's locked up. So when we get calls, we either immediately jump into rapid response by sending out a WhatsApp to over 200 volunteers who have agreed to go to locations where there's trouble. Or if it's something that's not immediate, then we do much more like case management, and we'll meet with the family that's been impacted. We'll help them locate their loved one, because frequently folks have no idea where they went. They're disappeared. And so we work on finding them in the various facilities around here. We find legal referrals. We pay rent. We set up bond. We figure out how we're going to pay bond if someone gets a bond hearing, that kind of thing. So it's a very, very laborious and important work.
And this Dyer number, can even friends and allies, if they see something happening, is it okay for them to call? And I guess just give as many details as possible. Like, I might witness something and not even be an actual friend of the person that's in this dire situation. So anyone can call and just try to give as much information as possible?
Yes.
Would you recommend that?
It is. It's really for immigrants and advocates.
Okay.
I'm pleased to say that, lots of times when we set things up for victims of the world's abuses and for advocates tend to use it more than the victims. That is not the case with the Dyer line. It's definitely weighted to the side of reaching immigrants. All of our dispatchers are bilingual, and all except our first language, Spanish, second language, English. So our empathy with this line is to meet people where they're at linguistically, so that there's no confusion.
Great.
But yeah, advocates are most definitely welcome to call that number.
Okay, great. And how long, when did you start this hotline? I'm sorry,
We started the hotline actually in January of 2017.
Great.
So we've been, it's been going for over 2 years now. And we've had quiet spells, and then we've other times where, there have been many calls. So far, the use of the hotline has interrupted at least 3 detentions where we have gotten to a place where ICE was involved, and because of our presence, ICE hasn't been able to finish their task. And so that felt important in those moments, and it was important. But we're well aware that we are most likely going to be helpful, but most often after the crisis has occurred, that ICE will get to places before we do, and that much of what we have to do is cleanup work. And we do that well. We feel it's very important that after people have been traumatized, the very next thing they're shown is love and acceptance. And, I want to make sure that we're not in the business of just going after systems. We have to go after systems, but we can't forget that systems hurt real people. So Dyer tries to really help people themselves.
So you'll even help and support the family that's left behind after an ICE sweep and detention. Is that correct?
Yeah, so example would be on December 3rd, a man in Jamesburg had just finished making breakfast for his children in his second floor apartment. Kids ran out the house to go to school. A couple minutes later, there's a knock at the door. He assumed one of the kids for a backpack. He went to the door. ICE agent puts his foot in the door, comes on in, and takes the guy into detention. He was in detention until 3 weeks ago. Mom and 3 children are left without a breadwinner. Mom had a job but had to quit her job because she couldn't keep the job because she had a job during the time period when Dad was home from work after the kids were out of school. So two breadwinners down, Dad in detention. So we came up with rent for the entire time. We came up with money to pay the lawyer. We did a lot of positive pressure on the lawyer to make sure this person's story be prominent. To be fair, the lawyers are totally overwhelmed in this state. And what we find with Dyer is the more eyes that are on a situation, that positive pressure, the more they make sure that they do a good job in the case that you're raising up as important. So we do that kind of advocacy work to make sure people are all treated with dignity and respect. That man was released and is now back with his family. And we're really thankful for that. That is not always the case. We've had situations where, for example, on November 28th of last year, Amilcar Pinzon went in for a pretrial intervention at the Middlesex County courthouse, a courthouse that in a county that claims to be a safe, fair, and welcoming county. But Amilcar Pinzon, at the end of being in the court all day, walked out of the courtroom with a date to come back to see the judge again in January. But before he got to the elevator, ICE was there and took him, put him in a taxi, took him to, not a taxi, put him in an ICE car, took him to Essex County Jail, and deported him on December 13th. Amilcar Pinzon is on the spectrum. and he's also a trans man and is in a relationship with a trans woman. And they had carved out a safe space here. Now Amilcar Pinzon has been sent back to Guatemala to a community where his sexual identity is seen as revolting, and where his life is in danger, and where he's on the spectrum and not having his mental health needs met or his educational needs met. So these are the kinds of situations we get involved in and bring light to.
And I just want to step back a moment. You said, so he was in court in Middlesex County and PTI, so that's typically so he was there for maybe a low-level criminal matter, is that correct?
Exactly. There is no such thing as low-level criminal matter if you're black and brown.
Yes.
That's true for citizens and non, but right now especially, if you're an immigrant, there's no room for mistakes. So, as the leader in a faith community where we talk a lot about grace and about second chances and 100th chances, it's very troubling that we've now decided that, like, you can't get an argument with your spouse, for example. That being 2 nights ago, I met with a woman from Honduras who came to see me because a week earlier, she and her husband got in a yelling match. The neighbor called the police out of concern. The police came, took the guy into the station. No charges pressed. The woman, this is not a situation where there's serious DV or anything of that nature. They had an argument. And but as he came out of the station, ICE was there, took him away, and he's now in Elizabeth Detention Center and will likely be deported to Honduras. So you simply can't make a mistake. And even if you don't make mistakes, you feel like you're walking on eggshells on sidewalks that used to feel solid around here.
Yeah, you never know. And I used to be able to tell clients and even people I would just be giving advice to that, if you're going to court before these amped up sweeps and deportations and new regs that are assisting the deportation, we used to be able to tell, victims of domestic violence, or, with the work I did, it would be, a woman seeking to enforce a child support order. Sometimes people would be afraid, saying, oh, well, I'm worried about my status. I don't want to, have an officer, look me up and find out. And we used to be able to tell people, don't worry, you can go to court. So I'm sure that this has had such a chilling effect on so many areas, whether it be women trying to enforce, and I'm going gender biased, I'm sorry, but whether we're talking about a parent who needs a enforcement of child support, whether it be domestic violence. Now people are not calling because, maybe you need assistance with a domestic violence matter, but you don't want your partner to be deported. You just need the protection of an order and protection of a system you think is going to work for you, and then it totally works against you. So now I've learned since, after January of 2017, I stopped telling people, don't worry. So I'm assuming then that gentleman, his status was looked at, and they alerted ICE, the gentleman you're talking about with in Middlesex County, and he didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And was grabbed.
And I don't know who alerted ICE. We have a pretty good relationship with Middlesex County. I have a hard time, not an impossible, but a hard time believing that certain people would have turned it over. What I know is that ICE is in the building constantly because we've done a FOIA on the building. Not a FOIA, that's the other one. There's another name for getting information, but I'm forgetting what.
Okay.
It's not the FOIA, but it's the other thing. And so we did that for the county. And we can see that ICE is in the Hall of Record in the basement constantly digging through, seeing who's coming up, checking schedules. So they know that if certain people are coming in, they've scanned to see what the issues are, and they feel justified taking them. So that stuff's been going on long before the threats of these increased raids. In some ways, I really don't know whether there will be more enforcement raids or not, it's been constant, So, a little while ago, Trump said the tweet of "Get ready, 11 million, here I come," basically, and then the next day, somebody in high level came out. Actually, we're targeting 2,000 people at locations. Well, that's a big difference: 11 million versus 2,000. And if it's in 10 locations, and even if Newark is one of the 10, that's 200 families in Newark. That's horrible.
Yeah.
But it's not the biggest raid since Trump's been here. Okay. So a lot of this is about the media and about us getting sucked into Donald Trump's game. Even 2.5 years into this, we're letting him build the story he wants to build. Yeah. And something that I worry about.
So what are the next steps, or what do we do? What can an ally do to assist?
So, the first thing, people with money, and by that I mean anybody who's not desperate right now, need to start thinking about how they can support the bond funds that are coming out through the Legal Action Fund, the Latino Action Fund, or through First Friends, or through Dyer, or any of these other places. Every $10, $20, $50, that all adds up to the thousands needed to get one person out. And I mean, that's what I spend a good deal of my time doing right now, is making the case on behalf of people I've never met before, as I meet their families, to say, this dad has this stake, and trying to move the hearts of people around here to give generously. So I would say that, money is a big piece of this, and we've got to get serious about it. The second thing is visit detention centers. So we go every Tuesday night and every Wednesday night. As we speak, I've got a group from my congregation in connection with Dyer that is at the Elizabeth Detention Center. We visit men on Tuesday and women on Wednesday. And First Friends visits at Elizabeth Detention, but also at Essex and Bergen and Hudson. All of those places have different sets of rules and regs about how you get in and visit. And, in the past, we used to visit asylees who had just entered the country and were sitting in those detention centers waiting to see if they'd be allowed into America. Okay. But now those detention centers are jammed full of people on the out ramp, or I think I'm on the out ramp. Yeah. And those people need support. A lot of them have families that don't dare visit them inside because they too are underdocumented. And we need to make sure that that they're getting as much attention as possible. So all these places can be visited. I would call on allies to figure out how to do it. You can call 1-888-DYER-WEST to learn how to go visit detention center visits, or to figure out how to join a group for your first time.
Oh, that's great. So our viewers and listeners can call that hotline number just for information on how to plug in.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 1-888-DIRESOS, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And I know you've been working with some other organizations trying to get ICE out of our Essex County. Has some ICE beds that they contract with. Are there any actions coming up that we could tell our viewers and listeners about?
So let me tell you first, just to try to clarify why these contracts are so horrible.
Okay.
It's a little bit confusing, and unfortunately, partners who have often been allies have come out with very troubling statements on a lot of this. So I think it's important to unpack it for a minute.
Sure.
The argument is made that, gosh, it's important that we have these beds open in Jersey so people can stay close to their family and friends and their lawyers. And, God forbid they get sent to Alabama. Okay. So first of all, there's a lot of isms in that thought that somehow we are superior, right? The second problem is New Jersey has 50,000 people in ICE's non-detained docket. That means people who are waiting, or who ICE is aware of, who ICE checks in on, or who have to go in and report themselves on a regular basis. They're held in the non-detained unit, and they're in that status until such a time as ICE makes a decision about what to do with them. The 2,000 beds that we have people locked in locked up in right now in New Jersey, the people inside there are no different than the 50,000 on the outside. There's no reason for us to have anybody in detention. They could all be held in orders of supervision. They could all be held in non-detained supervision, like the 50,000. But as long as we leave beds available, the minute beds are available, ICE just takes people who are already caught and gets them caughter, if you will, puts them into beds that they don't need to be in. And there's only one reason for that, and that's to make money for Joey D. in Essex County, to make money for Tom DeGeese in Hudson County, and to make money for the system in Bergen. Those county jails that went, they dropped almost half their populations, and in the case of Bergen, almost 80% of their prison population with bail reform. And we're all excited about bail reform.
Yeah.
But we've had all these empty beds, and now these institutions, rather than saying it's time to have less beds locking people up, they're like, we can make money now on black and brown people instead of us spending money to lock up our own black and brown neighbors. We can make money off undocumented black and brown neighbors, and we'll participate in Donald Trump's racial and ethnic cleansing. And that is exactly what democratically controlled counties of Essex, Hudson, and Bergen have been doing. I'm not making that up. That's exactly what's happening.
I never thought of it that way. Thank you for breaking it down that way. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers haven't. Yeah.
There's almost no women detained. I mean, there's a few, but very, very few women detained in New Jersey who are immigrants. There's over 10,000 women and maybe 20,000 who are in the non-detained docket. Why is it that there aren't women locked up? Because there aren't any beds. So if we could get rid of the beds for men, they wouldn't be locked up either. Yeah. ICE is not going to start shipping people around. Right now, they've got so many people coming across the southern border that they're desperate to find enough beds to hold those folks in. So they most definitely won't be sending large numbers of New Jerseyans to other places. You know, I'm not saying it won't happen from time to time, but we certainly are making a mistake to give ICE what they want. And we're just doing it to, grease the pockets of criminal politicians.
Yeah, in such a blue state that you would think, the illusion is that they would be immigrant friendly, but that's not the case here. And I just loved how you framed that up, because we have heard as you said, then our local detainees are going to be shipped many, many states away, and then families can't visit, and they'll lose the attorneys they've paid for. So that's a great argument. Thank you for framing that up.
Locked. That's it. So yes, I'm worried about the 2,000 who are currently inside. There may be a little bit lost there, but until we break the system, there's always another 2,000 who are just the next 2,000, and that will be an cycle. We have 500,000 people in this state whose status is out of order because of an ongoing, real life political problem with our immigration system that dates back, 4 decades at least. So we can't fix it in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
We do need to help all immigrants come out of the shadows and live a life where they can fully participate. I believe in all that, but we cannot let this notion that it's somehow good to keep people locked up rule the day.
Okay. And do we have actions coming up that our viewers can plug into in regards to the call for closing the ICE detention centers in our area of New Jersey? I know we have Essex County, we have Elizabeth. Do you know what's coming up over the next week or so?
So on Friday night, all across the country, there are vigils called Lights for Liberty. And I don't have all of the websites that are memorized, but if you look up Lights for Liberty for our viewers, you can see where there are rallies being held all around the country. I'm helping to coordinate the one in New Brunswick, and we know we have hundreds of people who will be attending, at least, maybe more, right in New Brunswick, because we're seeing so many arrests and so many problems. I've heard that there's one at the Elizabeth detention center as well, which I'm not surprised about. But I must say, it is important that we stop acting like this is just a federal problem. Every time I see another event held at Elizabeth Detention Center and not at Essex County Jail and Hudson County Jail and Bergen County Jail, I know that they want the optics to be that this is a Donald Trump problem. But the real problem is you've got folks like Joey D. and Tom DeGeese who have decided to cozy up real close. And we're not holding them accountable, and we're not holding the rallies as often at their places. We need to hold them there, too. There are some exceptions to that. And I hope on the 12th there will be some rallies in those locations, too.
Okay, so yeah, we'll have to look for that, but that's a good point. And even if there isn't one in Essex County, perhaps our viewers can have the appropriate signs that talk about what's going on to challenge our local politicians to do the right thing here and close these facilities, stop taking the federal money for those ICE beds in Essex County, and get the right messaging out.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know you have something else to run off to, so you are so busy, and I just thank you so much for all you're doing. And as a Green, I know you're doing great work and working so hard, but we need people like you representing in New Jersey. So I hope you will consider a run for office again someday, because you did a great job in 2017. But I know that regardless, you're doing wonderful work, and I thank you so much for all that you do.
Thanks, Diane. And I'll consider it at some point, but right now I got to keep my feet firmly planted in the immigrant community. But I will tell you, at some point we should have a follow-up conversation about a new program we've started called Accompany Now. Last year there were 50,000 unaccompanied minors that crossed the southern border. 3,000 of those ended up living permanently in New Jersey. Okay, we've created a program that is working with 300 of those kids. But that was last year. This year there's going to be closer to 80,000 kids, probably more like 5,500 kids who come to New Jersey. And so we're growing our program to meet some of those kids too. I want to talk about Accompany Now and how we're accompanying kids that came across unaccompanied. But I don't want to talk about it tonight because I got to be next thing. All right?
For another time. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay, take care.
Bye, Seth. Good seeing you again, man.
Yeah,
bye.
See you.
All right. Hi, Diane.
Hello.
I made
How are
it.
you? You made it.
I did. I should change the shot so people can see me, huh?
Okay.
I should change the shot.
Oh, yeah.
Can't see me. I just snuck up on you.
How are you going to do that?
Just like that. I'm done.
Do you need me to squeeze over?
No,
Okay.
no, you're fine right where you are.
Okay.
I figured, what do you think of the new studio?
I like it. It's
nice, right?
Yeah.
It's getting there. So as
Yep,
people
yep.
know,
Okay.
we do things piece by piece here at New Jersey Revolution Radio.
Yep.
Right. And so took a little bit of the time and donor money that we had, and we put up some foamy sound pans, and I think you could tell the sound difference.
I think so, yeah.
Can't you?
Yeah.
When you talk, it doesn't echo as much.
Yeah,
It sounds
yeah.
better. So
Yeah.
anyway, so we got that done, and I'm glad we did have to do a little reverse thing tonight, but I do have some stuff to talk about plugs. Did you plug your events and stuff yet? Extinction Rebellion, do we have?
At this point, what I would say is we now have an open discussion group that is Extinction Rebellion New Jersey discussion group. So if you search for that on Facebook,
Right.
you have to request to become a member, but most likely,
Yeah, it's not a hard club to get into.
nah.
That's good.
You'll be there's a good amount of admins, so you'll get in there. But we also have the Extinction Rebellion New Jersey Facebook page, which is for meetings, events, and actions that Extinction Rebellion New Jersey is doing. We had a meeting this week. I think we're going to have something exciting coming up, perhaps the end of the summer, but we're also going to coordinate with actions that are going to be happening in the fall. And of course, we want to support other actions in New Jersey.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Facebook activity from Jersey comrades talking about Extinction Rebellion and getting involved. So it's starting to catch on. And you know, I'm always jealous of watching things go on in New York and Philadelphia. So,
I think we've got the right people in New Jersey now to really get this going. And, you know, we've talked about it. The cool thing is Extinction Rebellion is pushing the envelope for what really needs to be done right now, because we have this watered down messaging right now. No offense to my comrades who are progressive Dems, but the AOC Green New Deal it's just not enough. It's So the thing I love about Extinction Rebellion in general, overall, globally and nationally, is it is what we need now to accelerate the remedies that are needed that we cannot wait for. So,
I agree.
And you could also check out Extinction Rebellion US, which has the demands and goes into more detail. So I think everybody should check them out because I don't know. I hear some murmurings about some XR groups nationally. I haven't read it in detail, so I don't want to speak too much. But there may be a little bit of a problem with some Democrat co-opting and maybe even fracking lovers, which we know the Democratic Party accepts fracking.
God damn it.
They are not an ally to the planet. They won't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. What's that?
You can swat
it. Yep. So I can tell you that Extinction Rebellion as a whole is not something that should allow itself to be co-opted, because what our demands are has nothing to do with the Democratic platform. So, you know, it's kind of hard to completely block people from going to your events and actions. But, you know, unfortunately right now, except for maybe one representative in New Jersey, our Democrats in New Jersey are not friendly to doing the remedies that are needed right now to fight climate chaos. So I believe Extinction Rebellion will work perfectly in New Jersey because the people demand more right now. And I believe the activists in New Jersey that are involved in environmental activism we've got a really good group of people. And I believe they're aware and they know what needs to be done. So join us.
You know, it's something I've been walking around preaching a lot of lately is allowing people into organizations that are there for not the organization's purpose. Let's just say.
Co-opting.
Co-opting, and they're there to spy, and they're there to bring information back to your rivals. And, you know, I think we are getting more educated here in New Jersey, I think, about the kinds of tactics that the opposition uses. And I think it's silly to think you're not going to have something like Extinction Rebellion, something like, the Green Party, without getting people involved that are, not there for the right reasons. And it's hard to draw a line between who's being genuine and who's, there to really steer the thing in the wrong direction. Obviously, somebody comes from a fracking background.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that doesn't sound...
Yeah. If you support fracking, don't come to the Extinction Rebellion New Jersey Facebook page.
You're in the wrong spot.
If you support pipelines on top of pipelines, and if you don't understand that we need more than the Democratic Green New Deal, I support the real Green New Deal, which has been around for ages. It didn't. AOC didn't write the Green New Deal. No.
Howie Hawkins was the first
She watered down a Green New Deal. She
did.
watered down one, but she didn't write the Green New Deal.
No, she didn't. So
I don't want to give a quick shout out. I'm sorry.
Sure. No, go ahead.
Because we're talking about co-option. I like where we are with New York and New Jersey. I don't know enough about Philly, but I will also give a shout out to my New York XR comrades because, they're not co-opted Democrats. They're a good crew, so connect there as well.
And you can be a Democrat and be an activist. I mean, don't get us wrong here, right? I don't think we're saying
rank and file Democrats are, I know, wonderful
don't
comrades.
Bring that agenda to the table.
Yeah, just understand what your party is doing wrong.
Yeah, and also not everything has to be about electoral politics.
Yes.
The actions you've taken have been against the media, to educate people. There are a lot of arms of this society that need to be influenced in the right direction.
And we can work together. Yeah.
And you don't have to run to the Democratic Party to get something done. And if you'll notice, if you're a newer activist and you've been around maybe 1, 2, 3 years doing this thing, you'll notice the Democratic Party kind of always runs to you.
Yeah.
So, and the longer you take to recognize their presence, the more they'll meet your demands.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works.
We are supposed to make demands, not be given something and then parrot it. No, we're supposed to make demands of our politicians. That's what we're allowed to do, and it is their job to listen.
It is. Well, but speaking of Philadelphia, thank you for the segue material.
Okay.
So we're going to be in Philadelphia, New Jersey Revolution Radio twice in the next month. You are going to come with us right to Philadelphia for the Pod Fest.
Yes.
On July 21st, New Jersey Revolution
21st.
Radio will be at the Philly Pod Fest, which is very exciting. Heather did most of the work on this, but I
Putting
definitely
it in
got
my
to plug
calendar.
it. Yep, it's going to be me, you, Heather, Philly Socialists, and of course our good comrade Dyer Lamont Jenkins from One People's Project.
Great.
So he's going to be there talking about the new movie Skin, which he is the feature that they made a movie about our friend Daryl.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Played by, I can't remember the actor's name. I'm sorry, he's going to kill me because he's so proud. But if you look at One People's Project Facebook page,
you can get it.
You look at our Facebook page, you'll see it. The movie Skin, which I believe premiered in LA yesterday, is going all over. Check it out. Daryl Lamont Jenkins will be with us.
Excellent.
And then a couple of weeks later, we're going to be back in Philly again for a fundraiser with One People's Project and Daryl again. So obviously Daryl's dragging us into Philly a little bit here, but we're happy to bring the New Jersey Revolution over the border a little bit and do some, diplomatic work with overseas.
Overseas.
You do have to cross the Delaware to get there, right? You have to go over the Cooper River Bridge or something. So.
Yep.
So in the path of Ben Franklin, we're going to go and visit Philadelphia from Jersey. A couple of times. Take a look at our Facebook page. The event fundraiser is August 17th. That's going to be at Wooden Shoe Books and Records in Philadelphia, and we hope to see you there. It's only $10. You can get reserve a spot on Eventbrite. It's actually free. You can come for free. We're asking for $10 donation if you want to reserve a spot through Eventbrite. There's only about 30. It's not a big place. There's only about 30 people there or so. If you can give a little more, we'd appreciate it. To cover the costs for people that just want to come. But Daryl doesn't want to, he's not a big money guy. He wants to get out and spread the word about his work against fascism, work against hate, work against hate groups, Proud Boys. He was out exposing the Proud Boys.
They were out in Philly
DC
recently,
or
right?
Philly or something.
I think they were at an ICE. I think our New Jersey neo-Nazis, and I hate to call them they're not ours.
Oh, yeah, well, they're ours.
Unfortunately, they live in New Jersey, and they are neo-Nazis, and I believe they were at an ICE protest, and I think it was the one in Philly.
So those are the European American Heritage Association, which when I posted, so there's an IDAVOX article again on our Facebook page or on IDAVOX, which is the media arm of One People's Project.
And that website is IDAVOX.
IDAVOX.com.
So go there.
Or go into your Facebook and search IDAVOX and you'll pop it up. But yes, he exposed that there are two. I'll say their names for the podcast too, because I don't really want these scumbags running around as if people don't know. And I am certainly not afraid. I know I've been doxxed already, so they can dox the hell out of me all they want. So I don't mind just doing it right back to them. But I do want to get the information right.
Of course. We want to be careful.
notice how I'm babbling on and on because I can't pull it up right away. So I'm meeting that there. We're almost there. We are. Okay. So New Jersey Boneheads tried to cause trouble at Philly ICE demonstration. Yeah. Neo-Nazis were rarely identified in the 2017 Unite the Right rally. So these guys were also seen at the Unite rally. Dan D'Ambly, that's spelled D''AMBLY of the New Jersey European Heritage Association, and Ron Sheehy, RONSHEEHY, are in this picture. The one douchebag has a white pride shirt on. The other guy's carrying an American flag.
They were not going incognito.
They are. Oh no, they're out here. Well, the dude's
fascist.
Pretty ugly. He does look like he has a fake mustache on. I gotta say that, but I just think he's that ugly in real life. Pencil in. If it's a disguise, you should pick a better one.
Wow.
But anyway, so I did send the posters, and this one guy here, I guess, I don't know which one is which, was actually in Malinowski's office. And a comrade posted.
Yeah,
he's like, I saw this dickwad over it. Yeah, so these guys are running around the state trying to have influence. No,
so he's kind of in
my
my neck of the woods, but he pops up everywhere. I need to.
Yeah, you look at the pictures. I would take a look and see if you see these guys at a rally, and note where you see them, and alert the community, at large. It's this is it. If they're proud of being out there and being Nazis, well, there you go. Just put your names out there, your pictures all over the place. Congratulations, everybody knows you're a Nazi.
Yeah, that's what we have to do, and that's some of the great work that Darryl Lamont Jenkins does with Idavox.
Absolutely. So we're proud to support him. Come on out to that event. And last but not least, certainly not least, under our events is Justice for Jameek Lowery. We just got word today that there's going to be a rally on July 23rd at Patterson City Hall. Tuesday, July 23rd at 7 p.m., Patterson City Hall. And this one, as many people know, we have been on this every week for a few months now. Corey has been a great contact for New Jersey Revolution Radio. He works with the family. He checks in. We check in every week, and I make sure, I have the latest and greatest. And unfortunately, it's just not been a lot of news. Other than they're trying to get this report released from the medical examiner's office. It's almost 200 days now. And, it's just before we leave for Salem.
Yeah.
And it's right.
We'll be there. I'll be there.
I'll be there, and I make it a high priority. And I'm asking all our comrades out there. Again, this is not a political issue. These are community activist issues. It's a police violence issue. It's just one of many stories around New Jersey with police violence, and we all have seen that use of force report and dug into it a little bit at this point. It's disturbing, and I wish we could go out there for every unsolved murder that's involved with the police and do what we're doing for Jameek Lowery. We can only do so much here as activists, but this case really highlights it, I just think. And the family is so strong and put up with so much shit. If I just want to put this story out there, and I'm asking, if you're with an organization and you're anywhere near Patterson, New Jersey, get out there, get mobilizing, contact Corey, contact us, contact whoever, share the Facebook events, put it out there, send your email blast to your networks, get it out there, because quite honestly, everybody's ignoring this thing from the governor on down. It's all just don't talk about it long enough and it's going to go away. And the only way we're going to win is if the movement grows and people come out. This is not something we want to see a small presence on. This is something we are hoping that the larger community of activism and social justice gets out there for this. So I'm rooting for our cause. And
absolutely.
Once again, that's going to be July 23rd, 7 p.m. at Patterson City Hall. Get out there, support Jameek Lowery's family. I mean, I met them very, very briefly. They don't, they put up with enough already.
Yeah. So let's bring out our numbers, share the event with all of your contacts and in all of your networks.
That's it.
Absolutely. Justice for Jameek.
Yep. The hashtag Justice for Jameek. The Facebook page is Justice for Jameek Lowery. So please get out there where you can, and hopefully we'll support this, going forward better,
Yeah.
Anything else before we go, Diane?
No, I think we covered it all.
Cool.
And I know our interview with Seth, we could just reiterate our Lights for Liberty actions that are happening on Friday. It does look like there is one in Essex County, so that might be the better one to go to in our area because of the issue that sometimes gets missed, that our Democrats are enjoying making money off of the ICE contracts. So we should be out there with that messaging as well to educate the public and make demands of our politicians. They work for us.
That's right. And police weren't born police. They can quit their jobs if they want to. This is Brian Powers. Thank you with our host, Diane Moxley. We flipped the script this week and we did it backwards. Yep. We did the interview and then
I hope
highlights.
I did okay.
I think everything went great. I was listening in the car on my way here. Did I say watching out loud? I was listening. I was listening to it.
When the traffic
slowed. On the live stream, on the way here. It was a great job. Thanks to all of you out there. Check us out. Check these events out. Please come out to something. We love seeing our fans at the live events.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Have a great night, everybody.
Take care.